This is part 2 of a continuing saga with Alameda County Child Protective Services. So I left off in March of 2003. My rights were terminated with my older son, Niles. They stated due to because I practice corporal punishment. I didn't know corporal punishment is when you pull your child's ear. They had to medicate. Niles was medicated. He wasn't allowed to see any of his family. He was really, for a 10-year-old, he was really put in a traumatic situation. But like I said, I still have my younger son, Dalen, and we went into family court in Department 508 with Commissioner Sue Alexander, where Claiborne Sibley never had seen Dalen, but he hadn't seen, like I stated, hadn't seen Niles in 5 years. And so he all of a sudden wanted custody of Dalen. And at this time, he had owed me back child support for Dalen since he never paid any. In 2001, I had filed to establish parental rights for Dalen. Mr. Sibley came to court. Mr. Sibley didn't come back to court. There was a default judgment filed by Deborah Allen, and Mr. Sibley didn't come to court. So Judge Blay set an order in May of 2001, and so Mr. Sibley came back to court in 2003 and stated that he wasn't served properly, and stated that he didn't want to pay any back child support or any child support, period. Commissioner Sue Alexander granted him a hearing, him and Mary Oakland, his court-appointed attorney, and was acting as his family law attorney. In October of 2002, Mary Oakley told me that her and Commissioner Sue Alexander were good friends and I wouldn't get anywhere in this court. And this is soon to play out just as she said. I hired an attorney, Ray Mitchell, to represent me on February 5th, 2003 for this court hearing. And that was supposed to be talking about just to set aside the default judgment. In the paper, in the court's file, there was a order where Mr. Sibley was served. But when we got to court, the order, the proof of service was gone. But luckily, I had a copy of it. They were surprised. They were mad at me because I brought Ray Mitchell to court. Ray Mitchell stated that they cannot ambush me. All they could do is talk about setting aside the default judgment. When we got into the court, they were, like I said, they were all surprised. Mr. Sibley's, Mary Oakland, she didn't file any orders. She didn't state what their position was on this hearing. It was just left for us to just guess why they were bringing this hearing when it was clearly proof of service and Mr. Sibley was served. He came to court. Okay, he was served a parental rights, he was served everything, and he came to court, but yet he was saying he wasn't served. So Commissioner Sue Alexander heard the case. She set child support on this case. She gave Mr. Sibley visitation rights with Dalen, which I didn't have a problem with because Dalen needed to know who his father was. And an order was made for $1,160 to be paid in child support, and we were to return to court in April 1st or 2nd to hear the verdict of what took place in that hearing. Which you can look up all these it's public record. You can look up. We have some of the things on the website, and so. What happened was, in April we came back and she said she set aside the default judgment. The times had left. We only have 180 days to set aside a default judgment. It was more like 200 and some days. She wiped out all his child support and she reduced the child support that she had set a month prior from $1,160 to like around, and we went back in April and she reduced it to $670. We went back in May to court. She reduced it another time with no circumstances change. And then her, Mary Oakland had set reserve child support. So while Dalen was still with me in 2003 and 2002 and 2001, I never received a penny. And he was ordered to pay child support and daycare, so I never received that. And Dalen was attending a Montessori school, which he had been attending since he was 3. So at this time now, Dalen was in the first grade at this time when he was, they made him in September move him out of Montessori school into public school due to Mr. Sibley not wanting to pay for it. So now we're in September of 2004, and Mr. Sibley wants custody of Dalen. And I was fighting like hell to keep Dalen with me, because he really didn't know his father, and his father really didn't like him because he said he acted like me. I don't know who he was supposed to act like George Bush, because he came from me. So I don't know what Mr. Sibley was thinking, or his attorney, Mary Oakland. Anywho, they took Dalen out of my household and they put him in his household, and Dalen went to school there and he started failing and acting out. So this brought us to this court date of September 25th, which I have a recording of now, and you can hear all the misconduct that has gone on. This had to be going on a long time in this courthouse. I went to court. Like I said, I had an agreement with an attorney. He was supposed to come and represent me. His name was Alan Sheets. I called him on last Friday. I called him all day Monday. I asked him for my papers. He would not give me back my papers. I called him the day of the hearing. He finally called me back, and I said, can I arrange a time to pick up my papers, because I'm due to be in court at 2 o'clock. He was like, oh, if you can get here in an hour, which he lives in South San Francisco and I'm coming from Fremont. I said, that's no possible way that I can do that. He was like, well, I'll be in and out. I'll be running errands. I'm not going to give these your papers. I'll mail them to you. I'll put them, you're a crazy lady, and I'm not going to give you your papers, so I'll just drop them in the mail. I said, please don't drop my papers in the mail, because if I don't get them, then we're going to have a serious issue. And so have you seen my papers? Because I sure haven't. I have not received them. But I will leaflet his neighborhood and with come look see, and to see what kind he does business out of his house, which is in San Francisco on 20th Street. It's 1449 20th Avenue. That's where he does his business at. But we will do a campaign on him, okay? Because you got to stop these dirty liars that get paid, that are taking money from the county and not representing, not giving due process or a just representation for their clients. But anywho, he didn't show up, so I went to court, and there was a couple of people that came from Come Look See, and instead of telling you what happened, you can listen to the recording to what happened, and there's some pictures up on the website to what had went on in the courtroom, and you be the judge of it, because I have so far went through 4 attorneys where where Commissioner Sue Alexander and Commissioner Hendrickson and Rodriguez has taken them behind closed doors and has told them not to represent me. To what fact, I don't know, because they don't like me due to my religious beliefs or because I'm African American or what, but you'll see the injustice that Dalen cannot go to school and is acting out and won't give him the help that is due to him, and they're violating his civil rights. So come, look, see, and do.